You are Locked On Nuggets POSTCAST, powered by Mile High Sports, part of Locked On Sports Denver on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is going on, Nuggets Nation? Welcome on in to your Locked On Nuggets POSTCAST. I am your host, Aniello Piro. You guys can follow me on social media at Media by AP. And thank you guys so much for tuning into tonight's episode of your Locked On Nuggets POSTCAST. For anybody that is watching live on YouTube, do me a favor, smash that like button and smash that subscribe button on your Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel. That way you guys never, ever miss an episode of your Locked On Nuggets POSTCAST. Did the Broncos show earlier today, and almost was a great day for all the Denver sports teams. I don't think the Avalanche played tonight, but the Broncos, bad game. But for anyone listening on the Locked On Nuggets audio feed, you guys can check me out on the Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel if you want to watch these shows live and get involved. Drop some comments, guys. Let me know how you are feeling after the Denver Nuggets survive. They get the job done this evening, taking down the Dallas Mavericks, slowing down Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, for that matter. Your final score tonight, 122-120. Denver improves to 6-3 on the season. They're 4-2 at home, and Dallas falls to 5-4. That is their second road loss of the season, which seems a little interesting. How has Dallas only played 2 games on the road so far this year? But that's the way that it works out. But man, what an action-packed game. And most importantly, I'm going to do a whole kind of final wrap-up on this at the end of the show. Denver goes 5-0 on the homestand. And look, I was someone that I would say the only time that I was kind of melting down a little bit was after that Minnesota Timberwolves loss about a week ago, because that was just a game that Denver should have won, and it was ugly and this and that, and I thought it exploited. It showed a lot of their holes in their team. But what have they done really since that moment? They've come back and they've won 5 games in a row now here at home, with the nightcap, or the series cap rather, being the game here tonight against the Dallas Mavericks. Again, 122-120 your final score. But kind of to sequence out the end of the game, Kyrie Irving was absolutely dynamite in this game. Kyrie finished with, did he get to 40? Oh, yeah, not only 40, he had 43 points tonight in 35 minutes played. 17 of 22 from the field, including 6 of 8 from 3, was Kyrie Irving. 43 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds tonight for Mr. Irving, who continues to just have a bit of a renaissance in his career. Not that he was ever bad, but there was some off-the-court stuff. He didn't really fit in, fully potentially with Brooklyn. And now he's really found a home over the last couple of seasons with the Dallas Mavericks, and he was just killing the Nuggets all night. Big bucket, big bucket, big bucket. But with the ball in his hands late, going for a game-winning 3, Dallas is only down 2 points. Michael Porter Jr. hand in the face, making sure, I don't know, maybe he got a piece of it, whatever it might be, but that shot did not come close, as the Denver Nuggets ultimately are able to escape with the victory tonight. And just a lot to dive into, man. Nikola Jokic doing Nikola Jokic things, just another night at the office for the Joker. Casual 37 points, 15 assists, 18 rebounds, 3 of 3 from 3, 13 of 21 from the field, right? Like, this is, yawning numbers for Nikola Jokic at this point. I mean, it's insane to see how good this guy is. And I was watching the game, I had the game on my TV, but I was chatting with some buddies while the game was going on. And it's just like every single play, Nikola Jokic just continues to just wow us. I mean, how is this guy not the front runner for MVP? That's not the discussion for today. I think was it Peyton Watson that swatted the shot? I was kind of distracted there with the fact that the ball didn't go in for a moment there. But Alejandro, my man, appreciate you hopping in the comments. But either way, the defense on Kyrie Irving, I know Peyton Watson had a good defensive possession late, as did Michael Porter Jr., which ultimately helped seal the deal for the Denver Nuggets. And like I said, I'm a little surprised that Dallas didn't try to play for overtime. I guess when Kyrie Irving is as hot as he is, you want to just keep the ball in his hand and, live and die by Kyrie Irving in this instance here tonight. But thankfully for the Nuggets, they clutch up late. They they actually got outscored by 1 point there in the fourth quarter, 26-25, but really turned it on at halftime, outscoring Dallas 37-31 in the third quarter. And, Michael Porter Jr., man, he's had himself a night. The shooting appears to be coming back to him. 17 points, 4 assists, 7 rebounds for Mike, 2 of 6 from beyond the arc, and 6 of 11 from the field, including a big-time bucket there late in the fourth quarter, which ultimately helped push Denver to victory in this matchup in 36 minutes played. And how about Peyton Watson, man? Leading the Denver Nuggets players in playing time tonight with 40 minutes of run, and he was great. A +3 in the box plus minus, 16 points, 1 assist, 5 rebounds, and 4 of 4 from 3. Now, I'm not expecting Peyton Watson to, be 4 of 4 from 3, after most of these games here moving forward, but you'll take that. And I go back to what I said on, what was that, Wednesday night, I believe is the last postcast that I did, where Peyton Watson has all the intangibles. Peyton Watson, of all the guys that Calvin Booth has drafted, I think he's the guy that Calvin is most attached to. Like, Peyton Watson doing well, I think, just continues to double down on Calvin Booth's thought process, which I'll be honest, I've been a bit of a skeptic on. It's working right now over this 5-game win streak. Let's see how it plays out over the course of the year. But the idea of meshing prime Jokic and Jamal and MPJ and Gordon when he's healthy with a few feisty guys and Christian Brown, who's going to be starting, obviously, and then Julian Strawther and Peyton Watson picking some spots off the bench. That is kind of the philosophy here, is have the young guys bring some juice so the starters can continue to do what they've been doing, which is laying that foundation for winning Denver Nuggets basketball. And tonight, despite Aaron Gordon not being out there once again, Denver's defense clutches up late. They get the job done and ultimately win a game against a Mavericks team that, was in the NBA Finals last year, where the Nuggets thought they were going to be. They took care of business against Minnesota. Luka Doncic is a big-time player. I think Luka's been like the odds-on favorite to win MVP heading into the season like each of the last 3 years, because that's how good he is. And tonight, Denver actually did a good job of holding him in check. He exploded, I want to say, 12 points in the first quarter for Luka Doncic, but he finishes with only 24 points, which is, sometimes you expect a little bit more from Luka. He was only 9 of 19 from the field, 2 of 8 from 3, and only got to the free throw line tonight a few times, 4 of 6 from the line. So he did make some contributions with the rebounds. He also had 9 assists, so Luka was within spitting distance of a triple-double. But offensively, man, I think he scored maybe 3 points, 5 points total there in the fourth quarter, I want to say. So Denver did a good job of putting the clamps on Luka. And just ultimately, like I said, the identity of this team is led by their coach with Michael Malone, is defense, knowing when to kind of flip the switch to put the locks and the clamps on these other teams. And that's exactly what you saw Michael Malone's squad do here tonight. You've got Jokic at one point after the Luka foul on Jamal, where Jamal had 3 shots at the free throw line, kind of scrambling some guys, telling them all where to stand, what's coming with the play. And, that is the mastermind of Nikola Jokic. There's no other way to put it. And just a gutty win, against a relatively healthy Dallas team. All 3 big guns were in the lineup tonight for Dallas. Like I said, Luka Doncic, they survived a 43-point showing from Kyrie Irving. Klay Thompson added 10 points as a starter tonight as well. So this was, a relatively healthy, Spencer Dinwiddie with 5 points off the bench as well. The former Buffs, go Buffs, baby. But it is just one of those situations where Denver has just continued to find ways to win these basketball games, despite being down Jamal Murray for a period of time and now continuing to be down Aaron Gordon. And things just seem to be coming together, right? It was Russ a couple nights ago who popped off. Now it's Jamal who's kind of sliding back into that starting lineup. 18 points tonight for Jamal. Christian Brown continues to impress. So all in all, things are certainly trending in the right direction for the Denver Nuggets after their sloppy start to the season. So we'll see, if Denver can try to maintain pace here and try to keep winning these games and figuring out new ways to win and figuring out new spots for guys like Julian Strawther and Peyton Watson. But you cannot understate the amount of experience and run that those 2 young guys in particular are getting, and how that is, hopefully in theory going to pay dividends for the Denver Nuggets down the line. So your final score here tonight, folks, once again, Denver taking down Dallas 122-120 to wrap up a successful 5-game homestand. Even if Denver had lost tonight, you'd feel pretty good about a 4-1 homestand. But thankfully, that's not the case. as they make it their 5th win in a row and improve to 6-3. So just like that, we go from doom and gloom to feeling pretty good about the trajectory and the state of this team moving forward. So we'll see how it all kind of shakes out. But let me hit a quick break, guys. Go ahead and drop some comments. Let me know how you guys are feeling here tonight. What was your biggest takeaway from the game? What do you want to see Denver improve upon? And who was your player of the game? Obviously, you could go with Nikola Jokic. I think MPJ and Peyton Watson have certainly made some cases in their own right as well. But drop some comments. I'll read some of them when we come back right here after right here after the commercial break on your Locked On Nuggets postcast. Stick with me, folks. All right, you guys, let me tell you about our friends over at FanDuel. Get ready to take on the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And I'm not going to lie, I was cheating a little bit. I was looking at my stream was a little bit behind today, so I was looking at some of the updated scores on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It really is the best place to see what's happening in the game at the quickest time. If you're not a member of FanDuel Sportsbook, I don't know what to tell you. I hit a nice little parlay tonight. Jokic double-double, which is my ultimate kind of juice builder. I always just try to get to these short plus numbers. So Jokic double-double, Luka 20-plus points, so that was a bit sweaty, and Christian Brown over 18.5 points and rebounds, and that has been a cash money play, by the way. Christian Brown over 18.5 points and rebounds. I believe it's cash for him in every single game so far this year, with the exception of one. So my advice to you is to check out that bet. But guys, I love FanDuel, my personal favorite sports book. I know it'll be yours too. So be sure to check out our friends over at FanDuel and let them know that Locked On Nuggets sent you. All right, you guys, welcome on back into your Locked On Nuggets postcast. I am your host, Aniello Piro. Today's episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast is brought to you by GameTime. Download the GameTime app today, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase, guys. But getting back to it, again, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. That way you guys never miss an episode of your postcast. But we spent the majority of the first segment talking about Nikola Jokic. We'll continue doing that, of course, because it is the Joker. But, you know, as I said, Michael Porter Jr., great tonight. 17 points, had a couple of blocks as well. 7 rebounds and 4 assists from MPJ in 36 minutes played. 6 of 11 from the field. I told you, Peyton Watson today, 4 of 4 from 3. Joker, 3 of 3 from 3. Jamal with 18 points, 2 of 6 from 3. And Christian Brown, 1 of 2 from 3 with 14 points. And I just told you about one of those props that I love with Christian Brown on FanDuel Sportsbook. But I don't think enough could be said about how much Christian Brown has improved his game. That has been one of the biggest takeaways for me early throughout this season is Christian Brown is ready for the moment. Absolutely, he's ready for the moment. And look, I know KCP isn't having such a great year right now down in Orlando, and I know there's kind of a divide in Nuggets land about should they re-sign KCP, should they have not, Christian Brown's playing better, whatever. I think we all know that KCP's numbers would probably be better if he's still playing with Nikola Jokic on a game-in and game-out basis. But the good part is Christian Brown, I think, is still making us forget a little bit about KCP because he has just been so good on both ends of the floor. And that's the beauty of Denver's offense when you're all healthy. And I understand that Aaron Gordon's not out there right now, but I also don't think in regards to Christian Brown's role that's affecting him a ton because you still have 3 guys that can shoot the basketball. Joker when he wants to, Michael Porter Jr. when he's dialed in, and Jamal Murray. So that allows, Christian Brown to kind of take some of the focus off of needing to be a pure jump shooter and instead doing the dirty work down, below by the glass, getting some rebounds, boxing some people out, going up for alley-oops, whatever it might be, and then standing in that corner waiting for your shot. So he only takes 2 threes tonight to CB, but he hits one, and that proves to be a big one as Denver ends up winning this game by only a couple of points. So I just don't think there's enough great things that you could say about Christian Braun and how he's just really, progressed as a guy himself throughout the course of this season. So hopefully that'll keep up. He was a +8. But why don't we go back to Peyton Watson real quick? Because that's a guy whose fingerprints have been all over Denver's success over the course of this 5-game homestand. And, whether it's him hitting shots in transition, whether it's him knocking down some 3-point shots, whatever it might be, Peyton Watson, we knew, his numbers coming out of college were, virtually non-existent for Peyton Watson. Peyton Watson was a guy that was drafted based off all of the raw intangibles, a guy that has kind of lacked some elite level playing time, if that makes sense. Played 1 year at UCLA. If memory serves me correct, he was pretty banged up in his time at UCLA as well. And, get to Denver his rookie year, they win the championship. He didn't really, contribute much on a game in and game out basis. Last year increases the workload slightly, but now the workload for Peyton Watson, especially with the injury to Aaron Gordon, is through the roof. And so I think you're seeing a guy that with the more live game reps and the more opportunities that he's given is going to figure this thing out, man. I mean, he's got the body size of Kevin Durant. Not to say that he is Kevin Durant by any stretch of the imagination, but he's kind of got that lanky build, which should make him a problem once he starts to have a little bit more control under the basket, starts to work on his jump shot, which we saw tonight again, 4-4 from 3. There's no question that Peyton Watson has all of the intangibles to be a great NBA player. I just think he needs to play some more to see just how good he can be. But no, good stuff from Peyton Watson tonight. Got a couple of comments here. Joker's touch around the rim hasn't been Jokic level yet. I think that's fair. What is Jokic level or Jokic? Tripping over myself, Joker level, because we know that his touch around the rim is probably the greatest of all time, just to be completely honest with you. And I think you saw him slow the game down tonight and figure it out, whether he was, as an assist or as a scorer, or whatever it might be. I think you saw Jokic figure it out a little bit down the stretch here tonight. I mean, he had another triple-double, and I mean, the assists are there and the rebounds are there. Joker's the last person that I'm worried about. Would be nice to have a second option like Kyrie. Jamal was awful. Jamal was not on fire. I don't think he was necessarily awful tonight, was Jamal. I mean, he was a +15 in the box plus-minus. Again, 18.6 assists, couple of rebounds, 2 of 6 from 3. You want to see him improve that. But, 7 of 17 from the field, not great, but also we've seen Jamal have a lot worse. But look, that's Jokic's running mate, man. And late in games with the 1-2 punch and the 2-man game, that's who Joker wants by his side. And I'm not trying to say that the Nuggets are stuck with Jamal, but they did give him a max contract extension. So the thought being they're going to figure this thing out in the long term. And, that we know Jamal is kind of like cream where it rises to the top, right? It just takes a little time for Jamal to kind of get settled into the groove of the game. But I think what's the bigger takeaway about that, I don't disagree. Having Kyrie Irving would be insane for the Denver Nuggets, someone that is that prolific of a scorer on a consistent basis. Don't get me wrong. But I think what's most impressive is, even though some people, don't think Jamal had the best game in the world tonight, is how Denver was still able to find different ways to win. Michael Porter Jr. with the mid-game working late. Peyton Watson, like I said, posting up for the corner 3. Christian Braun hitting some shots and, getting to the rim and playing rough around the rim. You love to see that. Off the bench tonight, Julian Strawther, who I haven't talked about yet, adds 12 points. He was 2 of 5 from 3, 4 of 9 from the field. And so the fact that Jamal isn't even at peak Jamal level just yet, and Denver figures out a way to win against some quality teams, right? Miami's going to make the playoffs. Dallas is going to make the playoffs. Oklahoma City was undefeated before Wednesday's game. The fact that Denver is figuring out ways to win in light of Jamal Murray not being at peak Jamal Murray form, I think is a sign of things to come, and a sign that this team is figuring things out and they're developing a little bit of this newer identity. No more Brucey B, no more Jeff Green, right? That's been a year of that. No more KCP, no more Reggie Jackson, right? You've seen a lot of these core role pieces of the championship team be stripped away over the course of the last couple of off seasons. But Denver tonight, man, They got the job done. And I mean, that's the thing. Would you want Kyrie's 43 points in a loss? And I know that you're probably thinking, well, if Kyrie's playing with Joker, the outcome's a lot different. They probably win this game by 15 plus points, double digits, whatever it might be. Sure, maybe that's the case. But I do think that in kind of conclusion on that point, that Denver and Joker and everybody is just fine at the moment, because you're able to mesh the blend of experience with the raw athleticism and juice of guys like Peyton Watson and Julian Strawther coming off the bench. The question is, can they sustain it? This has been a nice little 5-6 game sample size here, especially without Aaron Gordon. I think once Gordon comes back, that's going to help stabilize some things as well. But the way I see it is, can't complain too much. They've beat some really quality teams on this homestand, and they've looked pretty good doing it. Has there been some ugly moments? Sure, absolutely. It's still early in the year. But again, I don't think you could be very upset with the way that the Denver Nuggets are playing as a team right now. And at the end of the day, Jamal's not out there. Gordon's not out there. MPJ's not. As long as Nikola Jokic is out there, guys, Denver's got a puncher's chance to win just about any game. And I was one of those guys that thought, Oklahoma City was a 7-point favorite on Wednesday night. I thought Denver was getting waxed. I'd be happy if they just put up a fight. And what do? They come out with the upset victory to continue the good times and continue the winning. So that is the common denominator. Nikola Jokic playing at a high level, which more often than not he does, means that Denver's going to have a chance in just about every game throughout the course of this season, regardless if the other guys in Jamal and MPJ and Gordon are playing or if they're struggling in their own right. So big-time stuff tonight from the Joker, triple-double, and a good night from the supporting cast, all things considered. All right, let's hit our final break. When we come back, we will put a bow on the show. If you guys got any thoughts, any comments, go ahead and drop those now, and we'll come back and talk about this homestand as a whole and take a look at what is coming up next for the Denver Nuggets. Stick with me, folks. All right, you guys, let me tell you about our friends over at GameTime, guys. And if you're not getting your tickets for all your sporting events through GameTime, I don't know what to tell you. GameTime has a new feature called GameTime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. GameTime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And guys, let me tell you about some of my additional favorite features from GameTime. They're all-in pricing feature. When you toggle this feature on the app or on the website, it shows you the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. Plus, you can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy with their seat viewer, and the lowest price guarantee, or GameTime will credit you not just 100% of the difference. GameTime will credit you 110% of the difference. Plus, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime Picks. Download the GameTime app today, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONDENVER for $20 off your first purchase. Terms, they do apply. Again, create an account and redeem with code LOCKEDONDENVER for $20 off. Download GameTime today. What time is it? It's game time. And guys, I'm an active GameTime user. I actually used it for the first time over the summer to get a little bit of a deal on some tickets to see Billy Joel at Coors Field with my folks. So I can confirm that when you use code LOCKEDONNBA or LOCKEDONDENVER at checkout, you're going to get $20 off your first purchase as long as you meet the criteria. And I literally don't get my tickets anywhere else. So take it from me. This is a I guess I have to do the read, right? But I personally also endorse GameTime because I'm an active user, and I think it's a great service for anyone that's looking for last-minute Nuggets tickets, Broncos tickets, Buff tickets, all that good stuff. So be sure to check out our friends over at GameTime, guys, and let them know that Locked On Nuggets sent you. Welcome on back into your Locked On Nuggets postcast. I am your host, Aniello Piro. Hope everybody is doing well out there. You guys can follow me on social media at MediaByAP. And do me a favor, if you're watching this video live, guys, smash that like button and also hit that subscribe button so that way you guys never, ever miss an episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast. I'm building this channel up brick by brick. I saw we had a couple of comments on Wednesday's show saying, I've never heard of this postcast before. I didn't know this was a thing. Well, you didn't miss anything because this is brand new this year. So this is the first set of postcast shows, I guess the first season of Denver Nuggets postcast shows. So appreciate everybody that is rocking with me on the stream here tonight. Shout out to my guys, Matt Moore, Ryan Blackburn, and Swipa. You also hear their standard shows on the audio feed with Locked On Nuggets. This is just the instant live post-game show version of the Locked On Nuggets podcast. So really appreciate you guys. We've got a comment here. Nikola Jokic is the best NBA player the last 3 and next 3 years. MVP number 4, 100%. Look, if he keeps this up, I don't think that there's going to be much of an option. And I don't have a wager on Jokic MVP just yet, just because I think it's going to be hard for him to do so just because of the voter fatigue. But if he keeps up putting the numbers that he's generating right now, let me get an update here for you on what exactly he is averaging. I mean, he's going to force the hands of the voters once again. 28.9 points per game, that's 5th in the NBA. 13.2 rebounds per game, that's 1st in the NBA. And 11.3 assists per game, that's 2nd in the NBA. Guys, he's just absolutely unbelievable. I mean, he really, really is. And I don't want to get into this debate right now, but I saw this thing on Twitter or X or whatever you're calling it these days. His peak might be the greatest peak of any individual NBA player of all time. And that includes Jordan, that includes LeBron, that includes Kobe. What Nikola Jokic is doing on a game in and game out basis right now is just straight up absurd. It should not be done. I was talking with a buddy either today or yesterday, and they were just talking, we were talking about some numbers and his stats and all that kind of stuff. I was like, this guy's averaging a triple-double. And he's like, well, he didn't get a triple-double in one of these more recent games. I'm like, he's not supposed to get a triple-double every game. It's supposed to be hard to get a triple-double every game. And he just makes it look easy. And I know Russell Westbrook is 1 triple-double shy of 200. He's the current leader in NBA history. How cool would it be? I think it's going to happen. I mean, I don't want to assume, but Russ getting that career, historical triple-double number 200 while Jokic is feeding him the assist or whatever it might be. Because I think Jokic at some point or another will probably leapfrog Russ on that list. I believe he's 3 shy, well, probably 2 shy now, maybe even 1 shy of Magic Johnson for, I believe, 3rd on the all-time triple-double list. So we'll just have to see how it shakes out, man. But again, for Joker tonight, just absolutely unstoppable. 37 points, 18 rebounds, and 15 assists on 3 of 3 from shooting, or 3 of 3 from beyond the arc. Denver shot just about 50% from 3 tonight, 48.3%, and they did shoot 50% from the field, 45 for 89. So the shooting's picking up. Jokic is doing Jokic things, and that tends to result in good vibes and energy for the Denver Nuggets. But as promised, let's talk a little bit about this homestand here tonight. And Denver, coming back to Denver, off of that brutal 119-116 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? They take care of business against the Utah Jazz, 129-103. You expect them to win that game against the Jazz, who might be the worst team in the NBA this season. And then the Raptors put up a fight once again for the second time in under 2 weeks, but Denver ekes out the victory there, 121-119. So you're like, okay, you beat the Jazz, great. You sneak by the Raptors, things don't feel super great. And then it's like, oh no, the Oklahoma City Thunder are coming to town, undefeated at the time. And Denver takes them to the absolute brink, winning that game 124-122. And now it's like, maybe they're cooking with gas just a little bit. Maybe they're starting to figure this thing out, is Denver. And what do they do from that moment on? They follow it up with 2 more impressive wins. Friday night over the Miami Heat, 135-122. And then, of course, tonight, 122-120, your final score against the Dallas Mavericks. And now we'll see what Denver can do here moving forward. They'll play the Raptors here shortly in a little over 10 days again. They'll go on the road now for a 3-game road trip at New Orleans and then back-to-back games over the course of a couple of nights against the Memphis Grizzlies on the 17th and then again on the 19th before coming home to take on the Dallas Mavericks on the 22nd of this month. So, New Orleans not going to, Zion's not going to be out there. We know that Ja Morant's balling out. And, a few years ago when Memphis was real good, that was kind of a fun little mini rivalry brewing. But I think the expectation here, to be realistic, is 2 out of 3. I mean, would it be nice to see Denver go out there and take down the Pelicans and the Grizzlies in back-to-back games? Absolutely. Is it a possibility that they can win all 3? You sure bet it is. But I think as long as Denver's able to win 2 out of those 3 games, you feel pretty good about their chances just to kind of continue building momentum throughout the course of the season as we kind of move into the 2025 portion shortly. So they got the Lakers, the Knicks, the Jazz, the Clippers. So a lot of up and down teams will be in front of the Denver Nuggets here moving forward. But man, oh man, tonight is another good night to be a Nugget fan if you're out there, man. Just an impressive victory for Denver. Again, doing the darn thing against the Dallas Mavericks. Kyrie's 43 points, no problem. Luka Doncic kind of had the clamps on there late, and Jokic doing Jokic things with another triple-double. MPJ making some contributions. Peyton Watson having a great game, 4-4 from 3. Joker shooting like 50% from 3 on the year. Jamal with 18 points. Christian Brown continued to slice in and dice in for this Nuggets team as a starter with 14 points. Zeke Naji, 2 points off the bench. Russell Westbrook, 6 points off the bench with 5 assists and 4 rebounds. And then Julian Strawther with 12 points as well. Want to see if they can get a way to get Dario Saric started. But everybody else that didn't play for the most part is to be expected. DeAndre Jordan, Trey Alexander, Hunter Tyson, right? That's kind of the case here. But all in all, I don't think you could be too upset with how things are playing out right now for the Denver Nuggets. But all right, guys, that is going to do it for me on tonight's episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast. Really appreciate you guys rock with me on the show here tonight. Again, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button so that way you guys never miss an episode. And if you want to, you can follow me on social media at Media by AP. But the Denver Nuggets, 5-0 on the homestand, capped off by a 122-120 victory over the Dallas Mavericks. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, folks, and we'll talk to you guys in a couple of days on the next episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast. Have a good one, folks.